HaKadosh. Continuing on our own now, together through the verses here and into our own hearts. Chag HaShavuot hazeh, zman matan Toratenu. Leinu v'lo yavotenu ya'aleh v'yavo v'yageh. Chag HaShavuot hazeh. V'asiyeh Adonai Eloheinu et birkat modecha l'chaim shalom. Just to close the Amidah, of course, take your own time with your own prayers. Join me if you like, page 353. Yehu leratzon imrefi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri vegoali Adonai tzuri vegoali Oseh shalom bimromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Time to say Hallel, beginning on page 357. Please join me all the way through, and whatever your words are good words. You can use your voice, your whole body for this celebration. Page 357. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et hallel. Hallelujah. Hallelujah avdei Adonai, hallelujah et Shem Adonai mevorach, me'ata ve'ad olam, mimizrach shemesh ad mavo, me'ola Shem Adonai, ram al kol goyim Adonai, el hashamayim kevodo. Last lines, 359. Mekimim me'afar dal, mi'ashpot, yarim evion, להושיבים נדיבים עם נדיבי עמו, מושיב יקר את הבית, הם הבנים שמחה, הללויה. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, הייתה יהודה לקודשו, ישראל ממשלותיו, הים רעב וינוס, הירדן יסוב לאחור, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, ההרים רקדו כאלים, גבעות כבני צאן, מלך הים כי תנוס, הירדן תסוב לאחור, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם לועז, מלך הים כי תנוס, הירדן תסוב לאחור, ההרים תרקדו כאלים, גבעות כבני צאן, מלפני אדון חולי ערב, מלפני אלוהי יעקב, ההופכי הצור, אגמים חלמיש למים ומים. 363 לא לנו אדוני לא לנו כי לשמך תן כבוד, על חסדך על עמיתך, למה יאמרו הגויים הנה אלה? פה להם ולא ידברו, עיניים להם ולא יראו, אוזניים להם ולא ישמעו, אף להם ולא יריחון, ידיהם ולא ימישון, רגליהם ולא יהלכו, לא יגעו בגרונם. 365 כמוהם יהיו עושיהם כל אשר בוטח בהם. ישראל בטח באדוני, עזרם ומגינם הוא, בית אהרון ביטחו באדוני, עזרם ומגינם הוא, ירא אדוני ביטחו באדוני, עזרם ומגינם הוא,
אתם לאדוני, עושה שמיים הארץ, השמיים שמיים לאדוני, והארץ נתן לבני אדם, לא המתים יהללויה, ולא כל יורדי דומה, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה. 367 אהבת כי ישמע אדוני את קולי, תחנוני כי הטה אוזני לי. Last 4 lines. כי חילצת נפשי ממוות, את עיני מדמעת, רגלי מדחי, אתהלך לפני אדוני בארצות החיים. האמנת כי אדבר, אני עניתי מאוד, אני אמרתי בחופזי, כל אדם כוזב. 369 משיב לאדוני, כל תגמלוי עלי, כוס ישועות אשא, בשם אדוני אקרא. לך אזבח זבח תודה, ובשם אדוני אקרא. נדרי לאדוני לשלם, נגדנה לכל עמו, בחצרות בית אדוני, בתוכך ירושלים, הללויה. 371 הללו את אדוני, כל גויים שבחו, שבחו כל האומים, כי גבר עלינו, עלינו חסדו ואמת אדוני לעולם, הללויה. הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם, כי לעולם חסדו. יאמר נא, יאמר נא, יאמר נא ישראל, כי לעולם, כי לעולם חסדו. יאמרו נא, יאמרו נא, יאמרו נא בית אהרון, כי לעולם, כי לעולם חסדו. יאמרו נא, יאמרו נא, יאמרו נא יראה אדוני, כי לעולם, כי לעולם חסדו. יודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם, כי לעולם חסדו. 373 מן המצר קראתיה, ענני ומרחביה, ומרחביה. מן המצר קראתיה, ענני ומרחביה, ומרחביה. אדוני לי לא אירא, מה יעשה לי אדם? אדוני לי בעזרי, ואני אראה בשונאי. כל גויים. 373 last line. עוזי וזמרתיה, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרתיה, ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרתיה, ויהי לי לישועה. 375, 4 lines from the bottom. לא אמות כי אחיה ואספר מעשיה, יסור ישרוניה ולמוות לא נתנני. פיתחו לי שערי צדק, אבוא במודיה. פיתחו לי שערי צדק, אבוא במודיה. זה אשר לאדוני צדיקים יבואו בו. זה אשר לאדוני צדיקים יבואו בו. 377, עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי לישועה. עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי לישועה. אבן מה עשו הבונים, הייתה לראש פינה. אבן מה עשו הבונים, הייתה לראש פינה. מת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלט בעינינו. מת אדוני הייתה זאת, היא נפלט בעינינו. זה היום עשה אדוני, נגילה ונשמחה בו. נגילה ונשמחה בו. אנא אדוני הושיענה, אנא אדוני הושיענה. אנא אדוני הצליחנה, אנא אדוני הצליחנה. 379, ברוך הבא בשם אדוני, ברכנוכם מבית אדוני אל אדוני ויער לנו. יסרו חג בבותים עד קרנות המזבח. אלי אתה ועודך, אלוהי ארוממך. 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 הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. יהללוך אדוני אלוהינו כל מעשיך. כי לך טוב להודות ולשמך נאה לזמר, כי מעולם עד עולם אתה אל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל בתשבחות.
Be seated as you wish. Page 381.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולם מעלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ובאות ההון דכל בית ישראל, קודם אבון דבשמיא ואמרו אמן. יש למה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Before we move ahead to the Torah service, I have some words I'd like to share with you. And also want to ask if we have a stack of Megillot at the back, I think, and we have enough, I think, for everyone to share with one partner. So if you, if we could have some help in handing those around. It'll be. So a bit of a roadmap. We'll have some readings this morning, some rather important readings. So if they're extra, people can have more than one to share among people around the group, etc. And we also have a very special group of fifth graders to welcome in this morning, and I have to get the timing just right for them. I don't want them walking in while we're in the middle of Ysker, so I may move Ysker to after the Torah service, depending on when they're ready. I love that moment in Hallel. It's almost at the end of Hallel, and it says, Bruchim habaim, welcome in. As if the Siddur is saying to us, it takes like a while of letting the liturgy roll around in your mouth and in your consciousness until you feel really ready. So let's welcome ourselves in. We've had all those many words of prayer flowing through our mouths and hoping that, as we always do with prayer, that if we put the words in our mouths, they'll start to work their magic on our mind and our thinking and our heart. So then we're finally ready now for the texts of the Tanakh. So as I think you're all familiar, on the 3 pilgrimage festivals, on Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, we feast on the Hebrew Bible. On these 3 holidays, during our prayer services, we hear from all 3 biblical sections, from Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, though not in that order. And many of you are familiar with that custom of preceding the Torah reading on festivals with the seasonal scroll. So with the Song of Songs on Pesach, with Ruth on Shavuot, with Kohelet or Ecclesiastes on Sukkot. As I've shared with this community before, I've come to experience this explicit juxtaposition of texts, as if we're hearing the Torah through the filter of the biblical scroll that precedes it. So that, for instance, on Pesach, we hear the story of the Exodus through the filter of the Song of Songs, that biblical love poetry that some people read as a midrash on the Exodus story. And I've said this before, but I always love this image of, like, I'm at the theater and the lighting director has just put a different filter on the lighting before the next scene so that I can see that scene through this particular lens. So we come to our Shavuot readings with the same opportunity to hear today's Torah reading, through the lens of the story of Ruth. So it's customary to read Ruth here in the service, and what I'd like to do this morning, just to bow to the reality of logistics, is to read a chapter of it with you here in the service, and then move ahead with our service, and then for the remaining 3 chapters of this most beautiful piece of biblical literature to join me on the porch with a piece of cheesecake if you want, and we'll make our way through the rest of the story, which is worth hearing at least once a year. As you probably know, Ruth tells the story of a family ruined by famine and death, who lose everything, including their home, and also the story of the heroine, Ruth, who has married into the family, who through her devotion, her strength of character, her selflessness, facilitates the redemption of the family and ultimately sets in motion a messianic potential for the future. And rather importantly, she is an outsider. She is famously from an enemy clan, the Moabites, yet she is featured in this heroic way in this central Jewish text. So if you accept this premise that we read these festival scrolls as if casting a particular perspective on the Torah reading that follows, then something really interesting is happening here on Shavuot. Because the Torah reading for today is none other than the great story of Sinai, of the giving and receiving of the 10 Commandments, of the Theophany, which is at the center of our religious tradition, which we reenact every time we open the Ark doors and bring the Torah scroll into the community. The 10 Commandments themselves, of course, are the stem cells of Jewish law, the primary source for the voluminous development of our legal codes, which we call halacha, or the way in Hebrew. These verses form the basis for the evolution of Jewish life across 2,500 years, maybe more, depending on how you count. Even if you consider yourself culturally, but not religiously Jewish, even if you identify with the majority of Jews in the recent Pew study who said they are, quote, Jews of no religion, or if you are someone who is not Jewish according to Jewish law, but loves someone who is, or live with someone who is, or even if you have a good friend who's Jewish, you are influenced by this ancient text and the experience it describes. There's no getting around it. I was going to suggest like a game. We don't really have time, but throw me any part of Jewish life, a bagel, anything you want, and we can figure out how it relates back to the Torah, back to the 10 Commandments even, maybe after the cheesecake. We read Exodus 19 and 20 on Shavuot because our early rabbis, having been stripped of the land of Israel and therefore the agricultural origins of this festival, deemed this holiday instead, or in addition, I guess, Zman Matan Toratenu, the time of the giving of the Torah, a time that we celebrate the foundational experience of Jewish covenant and ultimately of Jewish peoplehood. And so what can we make of the possibility that our reading of that seminal moment in the Torah must be read through the lens of Ruth? I don't always find myself of like mind with my more observant colleagues and friends who believe that the Torah, Labriut, the entirety of Torah, meaning not only the text of the Torah itself, but of all the generations of oral law and commentary that followed, all of it was given at Sinai and only revealed in different times in history as the people needed those new insights. But here, I'd like to suggest perhaps a Reconstructionist Jewish approach, or maybe this is just a modern Jewish approach, which is to say that the ideas in the original text are in a constant state of evolution, that we can re-examine the text to hear its message for our time, It is not frozen in history, but rather alive with vitality, animated by the questions and needs of the people. In this way, we can explore how these texts, the Theophany at Sinai, preceded by the story of Ruth, are speaking to us now, in our time. We are really living in an extraordinary phase of Jewish history. I don't know, maybe past generations would have also said the same thing about their time. But from our vantage point, there are some enormous events and shifts unfolding in the pages of Jewish history being written right now. In the space of just 100 years, which I know, for us humans, 100 years is like a long time, but it's very short in the long march of history. In just 100 years, we've seen both the establishment of a modern state of Israel, with all of its magnificence and its tragic complexity, and at the same time, an unprecedented paradigm shift in our understanding of Jewish identity, which is the result of an equally unprecedented integration of a diaspora Jewish community into its national host culture. The reinstatement of a real-life Jewish national entity, the State of Israel, after almost 2,000 years of homelessness, has been an affirmation of Jewish identity and peoplehood like nothing else. Just think of all the ways that the modern State of Israel has, nourished, maybe even created a whole new phase of Jewish identity in our history. Language, law, all of it, food, everything. If the Holocaust alone is the modern parallel with the destruction of ancient Jerusalem, the establishment of the State of Israel is perhaps a modern parallel with Sinai, an event in history so thick with Jewish meaning, which so deeply nourishes that sense of peoplehood. And at the same time, our people has traversed a long landscape of refugee status to finally find a new home which has given us lives of great blessing here. And I'm not negating the real challenges of anti-Semitism here. That's for another day. But I am speaking about the American Jewish community, which has surpassed all previous diaspora Jewish communities in so successfully absorbing itself into American society that our very identity as a people has changed and is still changing. And we have to point specifically to the high rate of intermarriage between Jews and non-Jews, over which we as a Jewish community have struggled, sometimes resisted, and in some remarkable ways are coming to find our way forward into. So if the Torah is in fact imbued with a set of living ideas that can evolve through history, ideas which are illuminated through the prism of unfolding history, and if we can be aided in our search for its message today by first reading the story of a heroic outsider who comes to help us find our way home, find our way forward, then let us hear that we can have our cheesecake and eat it too. Jewish peoplehood, Jewish law, Jewish values, Jewish culture are worth strengthening, affirming, celebrating, and that this knowledge of ourselves as a people is blessed by the integration of those beloved others who join us, travel with us, become a part of us in a myriad of ways. As we stand at Sinai today, let us do so with Ruth at our side. Helping us to see past our boundaries, to realize we can embody our strong identity as a people while also welcoming the changes to that identity that come from drawing in new relationships without fear of losing who we are. So finally, let me not forget about our prophets, whose voice is also included in this morning's smorgasbord. After Ruth, after Torah, we will turn to a bit of Ezekiel, that fiery mystic whose visions fascinate and sometimes confound us. This morning we'll hear Ezekiel's opening vision, which is included here as another lens through which to experience Sinai, as a moment of mythic grandeur, of epic proportions, such that when the smoke finally clears, as we watch in awe, the core teaching is clear. ואהבת לרעך כמוך, you must love your neighbor as yourself. So let's begin now with a little bit of Ruth. I don't know what page it is in the booklet. Page 21? In the blue, I think the blue and the red should have the same pagination. Page 21? 21.
ויהי בימי שפוט השופטים, ויהי רעב בארץ, וילך איש מבית לחם יהודה לגור בשדה מואב ובאשתו ושני בניו, ושם האיש אלימלך, ושם אשתו נעמי, ושם שני בניו מחלון וכיליון אפרתים, מבית לחם יהודה, ויבואו שדה מואב ויהיו שם. וימות אלימלך איש נעמי, ותישאר היא ושני בניה. ויישאו להם נשים מואביות, שם האחת עורפה ושם השנית רות, וישבו שם כ10 שנים. וימותו גם שניהם מחלון וכיליון, ותישאר האישה ושני ילדיה ומאישה. ותקום היא וכלותיה, ותשוב משדה מואב, כי שמעה בשדה מואב, כי פקד אדוני את עמו, לתת להם לחם. ותצא מן המקום אשר הייתה שמה, ושתי כלותיה עמה, ותלכנה בדרך לשוב אל ארץ יהודה. ותאמר נעמי לשתי כלותיה, לכנה שובנה אישה לבית אמה, יעש אדוני עמכם חסד, כאשר עשיתם עם המתים ועמדי. ייתן אדוני לכם, ומצאנה מנוחה אישה בית אישה, ותשק להן, ותישאנה קולן, ותבכנה. ותאמרנה לה, כי איתך נשוב לעמך. ותאמר נעמי, שובנה בנותיי, למה תלכנה עמי? העוד לי בנים במאי, והיו לכם לאנשים. שובנה בנותיי לכנה, כי זקנתי מיות לאיש, כי אמרתי, יש לי תקווה, גם הייתי הלילה לאיש, וגם ילדתי בנים. עליהן תסברנה, עד אשר יגדלו, עליהן תהגנה לבלתי היות לאיש. בנותיי, כי מר לי מאוד מכם, כי יצאה בי יד אדוני. ותישאנה קולן, ותבכנה עוד, ותשק עורפה לחמותה, ורות דבקה בה. ותאמר הנה שבה יבימתך אל עמה ואל אלוהיה, שובי אחרי יבימתך. ותאמר רות, אל תבכי בי, לעוזבך לשוב מאחרייך, כי אל אשר תלכי אלך, ובאשר תליני אלין, עמך עמי ואלוהיך אלוהי. באשר תמותי אמות, ושם אקבר כה. יעשה אדוני לי וכה יוסיף, כי המוות יפריד ביני ובינך. ותראה כי מתאמצת היא ללכת איתה, ותחדל לדבר עליה. ותלכנה שתיהם עד בואנה בית לחם, ויהי כבואנה בית לחם, ותהום כל העיר עליהן, ותאמרנה הזאת נעמי. ותאמר עליהן, אל תקראנה לי נעמי, קראנה לי מרה, כי המר שדי לי מאוד. אני מלאה הלכתי, וריקם השיבני אדוני. למה תקראנה לי נעמי, ואדוני ענבי, ושדי הרע לי. ותשוב נעמי, ורות המואביה חלתה עמה, השבה משדה מואב, והמה באו בית לחם בתחילת קציר שעורים.
Invite David Saradsky forward to lead us in the Torah service. Could we please have some honorees to open the ark? It's a simple job. Carol Stern, thank you.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אב הרחמים, היטיב אוויר צאנך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמי. Vayehi binso Aharon vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai v'yafutzu oivecha v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'Kdushato 391 Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed l'Alafim, Nosei Avon v'Fesha, V'chata v'nakeh, Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed l'Alafim, Nosei Avon v'Fesha, V'chata v'nakeh, Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed l'Alafim, Nosei Avon v'Fesha, V'chata v'nakeh, V'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha Aneni, Aneni, Bemet Yishecha.
Hand you the Torah.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'norah Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'norah Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachtav. Adonai
ya la 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 Yasher koach. Thank you.
Want to take this up too?
Oh, let's leave that for now. Okay, Madame Gabay. Has anyone been given the second Aliyah? David, great, okay. Ma'am, you're reading the third? Okay. Yeah, here, Hannah. I know this is small, I hope you can still see it. Okay, so that's the first reader and the first Aliyah.
אוקיי. ויעזור ויגן ויושיע לכל החוסים בו ונאמר
Amen.
הכל הבו גודל אלוהינו תנו כבוד לתורה תעמוד יעמוד כן בריקס יוסף בן אברהם ושרה לעלייה הראשונה ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל ואתם החוסים וקיים באדוני
Chaim kochem hayom. You're fine. Can't come around here.
Come here.
We're beginning our reading in Exodus chapter 19 with verse 14. Exodus 19, 14. And in just a moment, I can tell you what page that's on.
Am I the reader?
No, Henry is the reader. Pardon me just for a moment, please. Exodus,
It's on the new cloud, it's
I don't know.
475.
I don't know if that's right. Maybe it is.
Ah, oh, okay.
It could be, hold on. 475, nachon. So if you're in the newer Plout, it's page 475. If you're in the older version of the Plout Chumash, page 523. Either way, Exodus 19, verse 14. And it's a delight to call Kent Dirks and Henry Dirks to be our honoree and our reader. Okay, Henry. There's how you read Moshe. And let your dad reach in.
And just touch the end.
Bring it to your lips. And then close the scroll. Close this one gently. Scroll it together.
Yep.
And then Kent, hold on with your two hands.
All right. Berhu et Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Hamelech Ba'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher karavanu la'avodato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Open that up. Open it. Push it to the side so we can-
Okay.
וירד משה מן הר אל העם, ויקדש את העם, ויחפשו סמלותם, ויאמר אל העם, היו נכונים לשלושת ימין, אל תיגשו אל אישה, ויהי ביום השלישי, בהיות הבוקר, ויהי קולות ובלקים, וענן כבד על הר, וקול שופר חזק מאוד, ויחלד כל העם אשר במחנה, ויוצא משה את העם, לקראת האלוהים מן המחנה, ויתייצבו בתחתית ההר, והר סיני ישן כולו, מפני אשר ילד עליו אדוני באש, ויעל עשנו כשן הכבשן, ויחרד כל הער מאוד. ויהי קול השופר הולך וחזק מאוד, משה ידבר, והאלוהים יעננו בקול.
Leave the yard.
Can't
More or
take
less,
your
it's okay.
talit and touch to the place that Henry's showing. Oh, it just takes a little extra second. Can you lift that? Okay, I'm gonna hold on here and say the closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata betohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So, first of all, join me in Yishar Koach, Mazal Tov also to Henry.
מזל טוב.
And and Kent, to acknowledge this aliyah, which is a most special aliyah for you, since it's your first one, as a member of the Jewish people. Having been through many years of learning and traveling together with Rena and with your wonderful extended family here, and also, I have to say, with the strength of your own family with you, including your mother, who is sending love from Wisconsin, I understand. And then having been through a more intensive year of study this year, in class and in private sessions with Rabbi Fred, you had the opportunity to go to the mikvah, to sit before a Beit Din who had only the best kind of questions for you, and to affirm your place in this community and among this people. And I think it's obvious to anyone who knows you that we are only better for having you join us and enrich us with your many gifts. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Thank you. Just thank you, everybody. Yeah. It's a communal effort, and it's appreciated.
מזל טוב. Welcome.
So join me.
ברוך
Simen
הבא.
tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yelanu, yelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, ulecho Yoshvei Tevel. Yelanu, yelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, ulecho Yoshvei Tevel. Mazal tov and Baruch haba.
Yeah.
We'll ask you, Kent, to stay right here. You can. Sorry, Kent, just come.
I don't know who is the second aliyah.
The second aliyah is David Clapper.
יעמוד דוד בן משה ופרומה לעלייה השנייה. Yeah. בירד אדוני.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, here. Yeah.
We're continuing now with verse 20. Chapter 19, verse 20. David, hold on. Yeah.
Baruch hu et Adonai haborach. Baruch Adonai haborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirvanu levodato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Can you move it? Because we need space. Okay. Can you hold it? בירד משה. Oh, here. Yeah, okay. אמן. וירד אדוני על הר סיני אל ראש ההר. ויקרא אדוני למשה אל ראש ההר, ויעל משה. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, רד העד בעם, פן יהרסו אל אדוני לראות, ונפל ממנו רהב. וגם הכהנים הניגשים אל אדוני התקדשו, פן יפרוץ בהם אדוני. ויאמר משה אל אדוני, לא יוכל העם לעלות אל הר סיני, כי אתה העדות בנו לאמור, הגבל את ההר וקידשתו. ויאמר אליו אדוני, לך רד, ועלית אתה ואהרון עמך, והכהנים והעם, אל יהרסו לעלות אל אדוני, פן יפרוץ בם. וירד משה אל העם, ויאמר עליהם, וידבר אלוהים את כל הדברים האלה לאמור, אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך, אשר הוצאתיך מארץ מצרים, מבית עבדים. לא יהיה לך אלוהים אחרים על פניי, לא תעשה לך פסל וכל תמונה אשר בשמיים ממעל, ואשר בארץ מתחת, ואשר במים מתחת לארץ. לא תשתחווה להם ולא תעבדם, כי אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אלקנה, פוקד עוון אבות על בנים, על שילשים ועל ריבעים לשונאי, ועושה חסד על אפיהם לאוהבי ולשומרי מצוותיי. לא תישא את שם אדוני אלוהיך לשווא, כי לא ינקה אדוני את אשר יישא את שמו לשווא. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו, 6 ימים תעבוד ועשית כל מלאכתך, ויום השביעי שבת לאדוני אלוהיך. לא תעשה כל מלאכה אתה ובנך וביתך, עבדך ואמתך ובהמתך, וגרך אשר בשעריך, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הים ואת כל אשר בם, וינח ביום השביעי. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו. כבד את אביך ואת אמך, למען יאריכון ימיך על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. לא תרצח, לא תנאף, לא תגנוב, לא תענה ברעך עד שקר, לא תחמוד בית רעך, לא תחמוד אשת רעך, ועבדו ואמתו ושורו וחמורו וכל אשר לרעך. Okay. Now you can hold it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Join me in saying Ysker Koach to David. who is always welcome as an honoree on this bima, but especially called forward here today because, David, you participated in the Beit Din for Kent, and to help make the way for him to come forward into this community. And
He did a great job.
he did a great job. So, Yishar Koach and Michael Achaya. Continue with our next reading.
יעמוד משה בן גדליה ואדיס מהתורה עד לעלייה השלישית.
Right down here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's easy.
See where you are?
Yeah, I see it. I just want to get this
Yeah,
anchored.
it's tricky to.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirvanu la'avodato v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Verse 15.
אמן וכל העם רואים את הקולות ואת הלפידים ואת קול השופר ואת ההר השן וירא העם וינועו ויעמדו מרחוק ויאמרו אל משה דבר אתה עמנו ונשמע ואל ידבר עמנו אלוהים פן נמות. ויאמר משה אל העם אל תיראו כי לבעבור נעשות אתכם באלוהים ובעבור תהיה יראתו על פניכם לבלתי תחטאו. ויעמוד העם מרחוק, ומשה ניגש אל הערפל, אשר שם האלוהים. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, כה תאמר אל בני ישראל, אתם ראיתם, כי מן השמיים דיברתי עמכם. לא תעשון איתי אלוהי כסף, אלוהי זהב, לא תעשה לכם, לא תעשו לכם, מזבח אדמה תעשה לי, וזבחת עליו את עולותיך ואת שלמך ואת צונך ואת בקריך, בכל המקום אשר אזכיר את שמי, אבוא אליך וברכתיך. במזבח אבנים תעשה לי, לא תבנה אתהם גזית. כי חרבך הנפת עליה ותחלליה, ולא תעלה במעלות על מזבחי אשר לא תגלה ערוותך עליו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yishar kochech to Miriam.
Yeah, יישר
Mem-
כוח.
Beautiful to hear. And we'll just say kol hakavod, Matt, to you, who also have been a welcome honoree on this bima many times, and especially here today to honor the completion of Shiva and to remember especially your father, Richard Wald, of blessed memory.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, Mel, if you'll stay. So, Hannah, before we go on,
Yes, yes, yes.
um, just help me lift these up and bring it down here. There. There. Okay, just, I need to just pause for a moment. I'd like to say a prayer of healing with all of you. And I also just need somebody to give me an update about where the fifth graders are. They'll be here any minute. Okay, that's fine. when they come, we will welcome them with smiles and joy, and yeah, we have some special blessings for them, and then they'll be on their way for the first round of treats and so on. So as that we're waiting for them, and as we pause here, let's say a prayer for healing. As the Torah is out in our midst and has just been read, and maybe even that powerful part of the Torah is ringing in our ears. Bring to mind anyone in your midst, in your circle of loved ones, who's in your prayers for healing. And if you want to stand in your prayer for that person at your place, Matt?
Alana, her son, we last heard from, she was still in the Donbass region.
Oh,
And also all those who are suffering from the ravages of gun violence awareness weekend. Speaker.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor havracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Refuah shlema. What a delight to welcome this class of Kita Hey, 5th graders, almost Kita Vav, Kita 6th grade, but not yet. Am I wrong? Oh, Eliana, you're looking at me like, that's not true. Okay, so we're going to sit here with this Torah here for just a moment, Chana.
Sure.
We have just finished reading the 10 Commandments in the Torah, as is the custom on Shavuot. And we're inviting you who have been busy this morning creating special covers for your own personal Sidurim to now receive your own Sidur as a token of appreciation from our community, and also as a tool for all of you as you continue in your learning. And I want to start by inviting forward our wonderful educator, Razi Epsteiner, to share with us a few words about this year.
Hi, Chag Sameach. This is very exciting for me. Sort of finishing out this year, my first year here. It feels like it's been 2 minutes and also 40 years. But with this class, which is just so, I don't know, the word like exceptional sort of comes to mind. These like resilient and brave and smart all girls, which we love. I don't know, like they just all seem to have really positive attitudes all the time. Everyone's happy to be here. And I just think they especially made my transition here a lot easier. They know, and I think the parents know, big kids scare me. They really scare me. So we'll see how I feel about you next year. But so far, they're really good. But anyway, Mazel Tov. This is very exciting. But yeah.
So everyone, please join me in saying Toda Rabba Rabba, as I was taught by one of our shlichim to say, to Razi Epsteiner, a great expression of thanks for all of your wonderful work with all of our young kids this year, and especially now with this group of fifth graders. We're going to just call each of you forward one at a time by name. We have a brand new Siddur for you. In fact, it's so new that apparently it's got a new color on it. But it is our Kol HaNeshama Shabbat V'Chagim Siddur, and the inscription inside it says, to each of you by name, Mazal Tov on the completion of your primary Jewish education at Adat Shalom Reconstructionist Congregation. May this Siddur help you to find your own true prayer as you grow into the next chapter of your Jewish journey. Blessings from Rabbi Fred and from me and from Razi Epsteiner and our whole community. So as I call your name, and Razi, can you bring over the rest of the Siddur? As I call your name, I'll ask you to come up and stay up here, and then I'm going to ask for whoever's been assigned for Hagbah. Do I know who has been assigned for Hagbah? So this is a very gentle Hagbah. I need you for the other one. This is because we're standing now with our Shoah scroll, with our survivor scroll. We don't lift it up in the air, treat it like a beloved elder relative. And so can I please ask for an honoree? It's just a matter of lifting it gently and we'll wrap it. Great, Harvey, wonderful, okay. Okay, Lila Bernstein, where are you? That's for you. Mazal Tov. Miriam Ribeiro. Mazal Tov. Nora Seiden. Mazal Tov. Eliana Way. Eliana. Mazal Tov. Anna Whidden. Mazal Tov. Molly Whidden. Mazal Tov. And Cassidy Unger. Mazal Tov. Girl power. And just to acknowledge the two others, Naomi Beal and Vera Bramble, who are part of this class but weren't able to be here this morning. So, do you all know what page Eitz Chaim he is on? Turn to page 441. One moment. Okay, and if you could also keep your finger at 441 and turn back to 407, page 407. These are brand new Siddurim that haven't even been cracked open yet. Page 407. And we'll ask everyone to stand and call you forward, Harvey and Patty. Could you come together with him, please? And let's see, we need our Torah cover. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael.
Should I be standing? Or
Yes,
sitting?
stand. Beyad Moshe. Now, Kita Hay, turn to page 441. And let's lead everybody together. Eitz Chaim hi la'asihim
I should sit down now. Yeah.
v'chol netzivotecha
Yeah.
Before we take our seats, please join me once again to say Mazal Tov to these students.
מזל טוב.
And also Hatzlacha, which is
בהצלחה.
Hatzlacha, success and good fortune going forward. Kol hakavod to all of you. We're very happy to have you stay with us in our service. Or, is there something? Okay. Wonderful to be with you. Chag Sameach. You can come back to your seats. This needs to be. There. You're comfortable? Yeah. Okay, we can be seated. As we transition to the second scroll, I just want to acknowledge the parents, the fifth grade parents that are here with us this morning. Those of us who are parents, those of us who have been around children in whatever phase of our lives, know that it's quite wonderful and sacred job to raise children. And so we wish you only good things as you transition out of a school year and into a summer filled with safety and good things. Okay.
יעמוד למפטיר, שלמה זלמן בן זליג למפטיר.
So now we're turning way ahead in the Torah, now to the book of Numbers, chapter 28, verse 26, which you can find hang on one second. No.
It's 1083 in the new.
Here it is. It's 1083 in the newer book or 1211 in the older.
Good luck, my dear.
You'll be fine.
Do we have a... Yeah, you have it.
Yeah, you can take your mask.
Yeah, go ahead. Let him do that. 28.
Chapter 28, verse 26.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirvanu lavodato v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Uvayom habikarim v'hakrivechem mincha chadasha l'Adonai b'shavuotechem mikra kodesh yeh lachem kol melechet avodah lo tasu v'hikraftem olah l'reach nikoach l'Adonai parim b'nei vakar shenayim ayel echad shiv'a kivasim b'nei shanam, uminchatam sole bulula v'shamen, shlosha esronim lavar ha'echad, shnei esronim la'ayl ha'echad, isaron lekeves ha'echad, l'shivat ha'kivasim, seir izim echad, lekaper alechem, milavad olad hatamid, uminchato ta'asu, timimim yihu lachem v'nizkahem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam natah b'tocheinu, baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yishar kochech to our reader, Martha Hare, and to her partner, not only in a Torah Aliyah, but in life, her husband Seth Glabman. So I think that there are multiple things being honored today. And I want to just acknowledge Seth on the completion of a most important piece of academic work in your life, the completion of a PhD. And to wish you only continued success and fulfillment from your, not only your academic work, but from your teaching as a most wonderful music teacher.
Thank you.
And the PhD is in
Curriculum and instruction, half education, half music education.
outstanding. Thank you. Kol hakavod. And Madame, who is here to celebrate her 70th birthday.
He's younger.
So Martha, if you would just step forward a little, drop, yeah. I'd like to say a Misha Berach for you. As you wrote to me in coordinating for today, there must be some connection here between, as we say, 70 faces of Torah and 70 years of a most wonderful life. May there be ongoing insights for you in your journey through this realm to continue to learn and to teach and to guide and to be nourished by your connection with these texts, with this community, with all that you've done in your amazing life. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואימותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך את מרתה בת
בצלאל ואסתר.
בצלאל ואסתר לרגל יום הולדתה כשם שהנחה אותה הקדוש ברוך הוא עד היום כן ישמריה ויחיה ויאשריה ויוסיף לה שנות חיים וברכה ויגילו בה כל אוהביה וימלאו כל משאלות ליבה לטובה ונאמר אמן. סימן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב סימן טוב סימן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב סימן טוב סימן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב סימן טוב יהיה לנו יהיה לנו ולכל ישראל יהיה לנו ולכל שבט
I just want to say how absolutely pleased I am to be up here with three of my favorite human beings, my teacher and friend Hannah, my husband, teacher and friend Seth, and my rabbi and teacher Rachel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. יישר כוחך. And עד 120.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who is that doing.
Jonathan.
יעמוד המגביה, ג'ונתן.
Audrey, can we ask you to come forward as a golelet?
יעמוד הגוללת, אודרי, please rise when we read the Torah.
It's okay. Help. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני.
Looks better when it's yeah, you're right, yeah.
כל הכבוד. תורה, 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 משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. מורשה קהילת יעקב, מורשה קהילת יעקב, מורשה קהילת יעקב, תורה ציווה לנו משה. כל הכבוד. We can all be seated. I have to have a little bit of a public meeting here with our educator and with our fifth grade parents, just to give you a roadmap of what's coming now. We want to welcome our fifth graders back to the Bima shortly to lead us in the closing Aleinu, which is coming up. Before that, we're going to hear just a little bit of the Haftarah from Ezekiel, and then we're going to say Ysker, which are our memorial prayers. In the past, it would have been the custom for children under Bar Mitzvah age in many communities not to be in the room during Ysker prayers, during memorial prayers. It's a short but important part of a morning, and in the past, our generations of ancestors felt that it was to tempt the evil eye, so to speak, to tempt superstition, to have people in the room who were not saying Ysker, who were not actually remembering someone. So I leave it up to each family to decide what to do. It's a most meaningful and somewhat somber part of the service. It'll be about 10 minutes, and then we'll ask for the closing prayers. Okay? Okay. I'd like to turn now to that little bit of Ezekiel, as we mentioned earlier. Okay. You can find it. So this is only going to be in the newer Plout Chumash. If you have an older one, you won't be able to see it because it's not printed there. Page 1480 in the newer Plout Chumash. A little bit from the prophet Ezekiel, whose mystical vision is lifted up today as, again, as I said earlier, a lens through which we experience standing at Sinai and hearing the 10 Commandments. Ezekiel chapter 1, beginning with verse 4. Okay, page 1481, thank you. That's interesting. It just says here it's not printed in older editions. Okay. Please join me in the brachot in the Siddur, page 409. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'neviim tovim ורצה בדבריהם הנאמרים באמת, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בתורה ובמשה עבדו, ובנביאי האמת והצדק, וערב והנה רוח סערה באה מן הצפון, ענן גדול ואש מתלקחת ונוגה לו סביב ומתוכה
כעין החשמל מתוך האש. ומתוכה דמות 4 חיות, מראיהן דמות אדם להנה, 4 פנים לאחת, 4 כנפיים לאחת להם, ורגליהם רגל ישרה, וכף רגליהם ככף רגל עגל, ונוצצים כעין נחושת כלל. וידי אדם מתחת כנפיהם על 4 רביעיהם, ופניהם וכנפיהם ל4תם. חוברות אישה אל אחותה כנפיהם, לא יסבו בלכתן. איש אל עבד פניו ילכו, ודמות פניהם פני אדם, ופני אריה אל הימין ל4תם, ופני שור מהשמאל ל4תן, ופני נשר ל4תן, ופניהם וכנפיהם פרודות מלמעלה לאיש. 2 חוברות איש, ו2 מכסות את גוויותיהנה. ואיש על עבד פניו ילכו, אל אשר יש שמה הרוח ללכת ילכו, לא יסבו בלכתן. ודמות החיות מראיהן כגחלי אש, בוערות כמראה הלפידים. היא מתהלכת בין החיות, ונוגה לאש, מן האש יוצא ברק. והחיות רצו ושב כמראה הבזק. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. I'm going to the end now. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום חג השבועות הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לששון ולשמחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Sorry. Yeah. It's not Yom HaShabbat. מקדש ישראל והזמנים. Okay, thank you. So I'm glad to see that our 5th graders are here with us. I want to be gentle now and also create just a moment of space for us to remember the loved ones who we hold inside of us, especially at these seasons, at these 3 festival seasons. We'll turn in the Siddur now to page 630 and 631.
I'd like to begin with the Hebrew on page 630 and then ask you to join me as we reach the English on 631. Adonai ma'adam v'teda'ehu ben enosh v'techashvehu Adam lahevel dama yamav ketzel over ba'boker yatzitz v'chalav la'erev yimolel v'yavesh tasher v'enosh adaka v'tomer shuvu V'nei Adam. Read with me, please, at the bottom of 631. We turn our thoughts to yesterday, to a world that lives only in our memory. As we recall the days gone by, we know the past is irretrievable. Yet through the gift of memory, we recapture treasured moments and images. We are thankful for the happiness we knew with those no longer here, with whom we lived and laughed and loved. We praise the eternal wellspring of life who links yesterday to tomorrow. We affirm that despite all the tragedy bound up with living, it is still good to be alive. We understand that there can be no love without loss, no joy without sorrow. May we have the courage to accept the all of life, the love and the loss, the joy and the sorrow, as we remember them. I ask you to turn ahead with me to page 637 to sing together that verse from Psalm 90 that we know well in our community. Many of us know well. It's 3 lines from the bottom in the Hebrew, Limnot Yamenu Ken Hoda V'navi Levav Chochma, that we count each day, and in counting each day, in noticing each day, we grow our wisdom. Join me, please. Limnot Yamenu, Limnot Yamenu, Limnot Yamenu Ken Hoda V'navi Levav Chochma. Limnot Yamenu Ken Hoda V'navi levav chochma. In the English, which is not printed here, teach us to treasure each day. Teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day, that we may open our hearts to your wisdom. Oh, teach us to treasure each day. The personal Ysker prayers begin on page 638 and continue with whatever prayers rise up inside of us as we remember loved ones who are not here with us anymore. I'll ask for those that are remembering someone today to please stand and take a few moments of quiet as we summon the memory and the legacy of those who have been important to us.
ask us now to all stand together, page 639. And as I come to the close of this traditional memorial prayer, to please join me on the words, V'yanuchu b'shalom, V'yanuchu v'shalom, to send our wishes that our loved ones rest peacefully. Page 639. El male rachamim, shochen b'meromim, המצא מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, לנשמות יקירנו קדושנו, שהלכו לעולמם. בעל הרחמים, הסתירם בצל כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם, אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום, וינוחו בשלום, וינוחו בשלום, וינוחו בשלום, וינוחו בשלום, וינוחו בשלום, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ונאמר אמן. The Kaddish Yatom is on page 643. I ask all of those who are in mourning, remembering someone in particular today, to please say with me, page 643. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon u'v'yomeichon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru ameh. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru ameh. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya v'chaim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru ameh. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. All of those memories for blessing, for inspiration, for ultimate appreciation. Ask us now to remain standing as we return the Sifrei Torah to the Aron. And could I ask our Kitahei students to come forward once again? We have, again, a chance to sing Eitz Chaim, and then we'll turn right to Aleinu. Page 433. Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkar Shemo levado. Odo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem ken be'amo, tiravu hasidav, v'nei Yisrael am kero. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And now page 441. Kitahe, just join with me, listen with me, and then we'll come right to Eitz Chaim. Page 441, starting at the top. ובנוחו יאמר שוב אדוני רבבות אלפי ישראל, כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזובו.
Hey, will you all come closer to the table? Come up close. Everyone, let's turn to page 445. And 445. Separate those brand new pages. There you go. Stay quiet for just a moment and let people continue with the Aleinu. Page 449. Now we'll join together the last lines on page 449.
To B'Torah Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed V'ne'ema V'haya Adonai Le'elech al kol ha'aretz Bayom ha'hu Yireh Adonai Echad U'Shemo
Kol hakavod to all of you. Beautifully done. You can come back to your seats. So I believe that there's lunch and cheesecake waiting for us. There is. And so thank you all so much for being here this morning, for all the beautiful readers and the participants. And to you, Kita Hey. Yes, thank you. Mazal Tov and Behatzlacha going forward. We want to say Kiddush and Motzi here. Razi Epsteiner has, okay. So we'll say Kiddush here, and then we'll, oh, great, okay. But it's not, yes, beautiful, that's fine. So any of Kita Hey that would like to come back up to lead Kiddush and Motzi, we're delighted to have you. It's a little bit different than we do on Shabbat, but a lot of the same. Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, put my mask back on. So let's please stand together. And then, as I said before, those that would like to hear the rest of Ruth, obviously you'll need to bring a box of Kleenex if you're doing it with me. but I apologize now in advance. And everyone else, Chag Sameach and Mazal Tov once again to Kent and to the extended family. Okay. There's the wine cup. Here. I'm going to step over here because I want you all to come in closer. Come down towards me so that the wooden people have a place to be and everything. Good, okay. Okay, a little bit of a different melody for the holiday. Kiddush. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל סברי חבריי ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. Okay, and we'll see as you wish. Go ahead. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון everyone, Chag Sameach. Wonderful. Can I get out? Absolutely. ושמחת בחגך והיית שמח. ושמחת בחגך והיית שמח.
Have a good week, everyone on Zoom. There. You can unmute and say hello if you like.
Hello. Thank you so much for welcoming me here today.
Hag Sameach, everybody.
Hag Sameach, everybody.
Have a good week. Enjoy the
Thank
weather.
you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Here.
Hag Sameach, everyone.
exactly like this.
You read beautifully.
No, I know, but there was one place I lost myself just because it looks different. I'm experienced enough that I fake it when I teach my kids is always. The plan is always if they feel I'm motivated, fake it, and I joke and I tell them, I say, parents can be different teaching to fake. But when they fake, they know that they feel it.
Right, they know that you
Yeah. And Marta, I worked with her a lot, but she didn't do one mistake. She was terrific.
Yeah, she did great.
Yeah.
She feels good.
Thank you, Rachel, for everything.